The ranch fell silent in a way. Eli Mercer had learned to fear long before he learned to shoot straight. A silence that pressed against the ears and made a man aware of his own breathing, his own heartbeat, as if the land itself had stopped to listen. The sun was sinking low behind the distant mesas, bleeding red across the sky. When Eli rode through the gate he'd fixed just that morning, Dusty's hooves slowing without command, the horse's ears stiff and forward, nostrils flaring as if he'd caught a scent Eli hadn't yet. 30 years on this land, his father's land, his grandfather's before that, and still, moments like this could make his skin crawl. Eli dismounted, fingers brushing the revolver at his hip out of habit, and frowned at the barn door hanging half open. He never left it that way. The chickens should have been loud at this hour, fighting over feed, but the coop sat dead quiet. Wind whispered through the tall grass, carrying with it a faint copper smell that tightened Eli's stomach. Blood, he thought, or rain coming late. Then he heard it, a dragging sound near the far fence, slow and heavy, like something being pulled unwillingly across dirt. "Hello?" he called, voice swallowed by the open space. That's when he saw her, standing by the corral in the lengthening shadow. A woman in a dust-stained dress, dark hair loose and tangled down her back, shoulders hunched as if she were holding herself together. Relief came fast, too fast. Travelers passed through sometimes, lost, hurt. "Ma'am?" he called again. She didn't turn. She just stood there, perfectly still, staring at the fence. Eli took a few cautious steps closer, gravel crunching too loud beneath his boots, and something about the way she stood made his chest tighten. "Ma'am, are you—" "Don't," she said suddenly, her voice low and strained, barely more than breath. Eli stopped. "Don't what?" he asked. The woman swallowed hard. "Don't! Look there!" His eyes followed her gaze before his mind could stop them, sliding past her shoulder to the fence line, and the world lurched. A body was tangled in the barbed wire, twisted at an angle no living thing could hold. Clothes ripped, skin torn deep where the metal had bitten in. Blood streaked the posts and pooled dark beneath him. The man's hat lay crushed nearby, and his eyes, open, empty, stared straight through Eli like he wasn't even there. Eli staggered, grabbing the fence post to keep his legs from folding. "Jesus," he whispered. "That's my husband," the woman said, finally turning. Her face was pale but uninjured, eyes wide with something sharper than grief. "What happened?" Eli asked, though he already knew this wasn't an accident. She shook her head. "I told him not to climb the fence," she said. "I told him something was wrong with this land." Eli forced a breath. "I'm Eli Mercer," he said. "You're safe here." She looked at him with something close to pity. "That's what he said too," she replied. The chill that ran through Eli had nothing to do with the fading sun. He noticed then the way the wire bent outward, not inward, as if something had pushed from inside the corral, and the deep grooves in the dirt beneath the man's boots, marks that looked less like a fall and more like a drag. "Come inside," Eli said. "We shouldn't be out here after dark. We shouldn't be here at all," the woman whispered. But she followed him anyway. Inside, the house felt colder than it should have, shadows clinging stubbornly to corners, even as Eli lit the lamps. The woman sat at the table, hands wrapped tightly around a tin cup of water he poured for her. "My name's Clara," she said. Eli nodded. "Start from the beginning." Clara took a shaky breath. "We were heading west. Heard there was cheap land. We stopped here for water." She paused. "Then we heard scratching, like claws on wood, and breathing." Eli's jaw tightened. "Animals," he said, though the word rang hollow. "No," Clara replied. It was slow, curious. Outside, something brushed against the wall, heavy enough to make the boards groan. Clara flinched. "It's here," she whispered. Eli stood, hand on his gun. "Stay back." "If you see it," Clara said urgently, "don't stare. That's how it knows you've noticed." The scratching stopped, replaced by silence so thick it rang. Then a voice drifted through the walls, warped but familiar. "Eli," it murmured softly. "You left the gate open." His heart slammed against his ribs. The voice sounded like his father. "That's not real," Eli muttered, staring straight ahead. Clara gripped the table. "It uses memory," she said. "Pulls at what you care about." The voice faded. replaced by movement, fast now, circling the house. Footsteps overlapping like many sets, moving as one. Eli grabbed the rifle from above the hearth and fired through the door. Wood exploded outward. Outside came a sound that made his blood freeze. Not a scream, but a low, amused chuckle, wet and pleased. Nails scraped across the roof. Something heavy landed on the porch. "There's a cellar," Eli said. "Under the floor." Before they could move, the barbed wire outside screamed as it bent, followed by a sickening thud. Clara collapsed. "It let him go," she whispered. Eli understood then that the thing wasn't just hunting, it was driving them. They fled into the cellar as night swallowed the ranch whole, darkness pressing close, the smell of earth thick and suffocating. Above them the house groaned, boards splintering as something forced its way inside. Footsteps slow and deliberate now, savoring the hunt. Clara sobbed quietly. "This land was taken," she said, "years ago. People died here, angry, unfinished." Eli thought of his father, of refusing to leave, of secrets never spoken. The footsteps stopped directly above them. "Eli," the voice breathed again, closer than before. "Come see." Eli raised the rifle, hands steady now, and for the first time understood the truth. Some things didn't want land or blood. They wanted witnesses. He shut his eyes, squeezed the trigger upward through the floor, and the scream that followed shook the cellar walls, raw and furious. Silence returned deeper than before. When dawn came, the ranch stood quiet under pale light. The fence lay twisted and broken. The body was gone. Clara was gone too, leaving only footprints that stopped abruptly in the dirt. Eli never heard the scratching again, but he sold the ranch before winter, leaving the land behind untouched. And some nights, when the wind is just right, travelers still swear they hear a voice whispering from the fence line, begging them to look. If this story gripped you, if you felt that silence, that fear, then you already know there are more stories buried out there waiting to be told. So subscribe now and ride with us into the darkest corners of the Wild West, because some legends don't stay buried. And the next one is coming.